In this video, we are going to be studying the positioning schemes that CSS allows us to lay out elements on the page. The three positioning schemes that we are going to be studying are normal flow, relative positioning, and absolute positioning. Although we'll also be studying fixed positioning, but that is not as important as these three. Let's begin by understanding the normal flow. Every block level element appears on a new line in case of normal flow, causing each item to appear lower down the page than the previous one. Even if you specify the width of the boxes, and there is space for the two elements to sit side by side, as in the case of paragraph 2 and paragraph 3, they will still not appear next to each other, because this is the default behavior of the elements when they are in the normal document flow. As an example, let's create three paragraph elements, giving each of them a certain width and a certain background color so that we can differentiate them, and then let's see their behavior in the browser. Let's first create three paragraphs in the HTML document, and let's fill them up with some lorem ipsum. These are the three paragraphs. And then in our style.css file, let's create three classes for the paragraphs 1, 2, and 3. P1 for the first paragraph, that has a width of 300, height of 200, a background color of red, and a foreground color for text of white. Let's copy this whole thing and paste it twice to create classes for second and third paragraph, giving them the names of .p2 and .p3, and then change just their colors so that they are easy to differentiate. Let's change the color of paragraph 2 from red to green, and the color of paragraph 3 from red to blue. Alright, now in our HTML document, let's apply classes of P1, P2, and P3 to first, second, and third paragraph respectively. Class equals P1, class equals P2, and class equals P3. Save it and load into the browser. Interesting. We see that every paragraph appears lower down the page than the previous one, and none of them appears next to each other, even though there's plenty of room for them to do so. And this is what is called the normal document flow. Every block level element appears on its own line no matter what. Next, the relative positioning. This positioning scheme moves an element from the position it would be in the normal flow, shifting it to the top, right, bottom, or left of where it would have been placed. This does not affect the position of surrounding elements. They stay in the position they would be in normal flow. Confused? Okay, let me explain it with the help of an example. Suppose we have three paragraphs, all in the normal document flow and therefore on top of each other. Suppose we want to change the position of the second paragraph such that it goes 300 pixels to the right and then 300 pixels downwards. And if we achieve this result using the technique of relative positioning, the browser would bring the paragraph 300 pixels down from its current position in the normal document flow, and also 300 pixels right from its current position in the normal document flow. The point to keep in mind here is that the browser changes the position of the element relative to its position in the normal document flow. that in the diagram is represented with the red spot. This red spot was the original position of the second paragraph when it was in normal document flow. Hope this clears the purpose of relative positioning and its basic concept. Alright, the next one is absolute positioning. The main difference between relative and absolute positioning is that of the reference point. When we change position in case of relative positioning, as we just saw, the reference point is the element's default position in the normal document flow, while in the case of absolute positioning, the reference point is the element's container. Let's once again move the second paragraph 300 pixels to the right and 200 pixels down, but this time using the technique of absolute positioning, and then let's appreciate the differences between the positioning results of absolute and relative methods. As soon as we apply the property of absolute positioning to an element, we should consider in our mind that now the element is no more at its default position. Instead, it has now moved up and has aligned itself to the left and top edges of its container element. Now when we move the element 300 pixels to the right and 200 pixels downwards, it will be moving with reference to the top left corner of its container. And one more important thing that will happen is that the paragraph element that was below paragraph 2, that is paragraph 3, will now move upwards and take up the place of paragraph 2. And this becomes the final shape of the document after applying the absolute positioning in this example. And that's it. These are the three layout techniques and their introductions. There's still a chance that you might not have fully understood the three, although I tried to be as clear as possible. But don't worry, some topics need revisions, and this happens to be one of those. Additionally, when we shall implement these techniques, they will start making much more sense. And as always, thanks for watching.